Hey guys, this is Arif from TechShare. Today I was exploring SitecoreAI. Pretty new, right? So I thought I will explore that one and I found something pretty interesting. So I will be sharing that on to you. So there are a lot of new things really. New things like if you want to create a site now, what you can do is, so let's say I have all those different environment and you can see there is nothing called Sitecore XM Cloud. It's all SitecoreAI. Then you can go to the channels, and under the channel you can create a site, okay, which is pretty new. We did not follow that one before. In the channel you have this create site, and then it would take 2 minutes to create the site. So I already created a site, so I'm not going to create again. Then if you follow the documentation, there are new things in the documentation as well. They are calling ContentSDK. What is ContentSDK? I'll share that on. And also ASP.NET Core SDK. So there are two types of SDK you could potentially use. Those who are using the old style of development, then if you go to the deploy app, then you could see we have this JSS21x plus and also earlier option. Now they added this content SDK option as well. Pretty interesting. So I created this test AI site. Then if you select this content SDK, then you would see there are a bunch of new environment variables then this recently added, which is this one. And also they call it now next public default site name. Okay, so they have added those sort of environment variables. Now let's just run this application, which is SitecoreAI that I created here in the local mode or in your local connecting to your application. So for that one, what I did, I just cloned one of this repository, which is Sitecore XM Cloud starter JS repository that Sitecore had. So I trunk that on, I forked that on, sorry, and then I cloned this here. And when you clone this here, then you can see this is basically the similar kind of structure that we had before as well, where you have the Docker Compose and things like XM Cloud, build.json, Sitecore.json, things like that. And then also authoring folder is there, which is basically the platform project. But under the examples, you can see bunch of new stuff like this two basic Next.js and basic Next.js page router. So page router is the only option we had before, right? Now they also introduced this app edition, which was basically the new thing obviously of JS. So you can use this version app, app sort of option. So Next.js has these two sort of path, right? You could use the app or you could use the route, page route. So whatever the path you want to follow, you can also follow the same for JS SDK or JS application now, which is pretty interesting. So in the page router, which is basically the one that we had before, also has a lot of different changes now. In the .sitecore folder, you have something called component map.ts. That's how the map or component would be mapped now. So you have to explicitly do that. Previously it was automatic through some sort of script, but now Sitecore says, hey, it is your duty now. It is your responsibility to map it out, or if you don't want to do it, that component will not appear. So basically you have to do it by yourself. I'll share that on. So what happened in the test application that I have created here, home page, I open it in my page builder and I drag and drop the content page content component here, and page content component is not part of this here. So obviously you would see this red or yellow icon saying, hey, this component is not basically found. So I created that component by myself here. Content SDK, I created page content here. In the page content, I am just simply use any property, trying to understand what the data it is coming here, and then I am just basically rendering rich text component here with that field, basically, right? Because page content is using the rich text content field of the page. So now if you run the application in the local, so I created that one, and it's not there. You have to map it out, right? So in the component.map, Sitecore says there are two ways. Obviously, one is the static component creation, another one is dynamic. Dynamically, you can create the component, and then once the component is sort of imported here, then you can use something called this, right? You can follow the example here. And normally we had this config.ts file where Sitecore basically take all the values from environment variable and create a dynamic object at runtime. We have similar things here as well, called Sitecore config.ts. You can see the examples and see the schema. So their schema is different now comparing to what we had before, which is also interesting. So we'll need to see, go through the documentation. You can see the documentation links also put it here, which is very interesting. So content SDK is the new thing, right? So we have to follow this one going forward. So it's pretty important for us, like as a Sitecore developer, to go through that one, understand that one. So now what happened on component map, I mapped it out here. So let's say if I don't map it out, what will happen? So I remove this one and let me refresh the local app here. Then see here, it says, sorry, this component doesn't exist, right? Now if I bring back this one, then immediately you can see the data is coming through in my local. But obviously before that, you have to use this environment local with all the variables, including the new ones like this Sitecore next public Sitecore context ID. And it says that will be used as a fallback if separate Sitecore context ID value is not provided. So let's say if is this Sitecore context ID, which is the old one, right? So if you don't provide this one, then it is basically the fallback one. Otherwise, probably it would be using the old one. In that case, you can provide a different one, I believe. Anyway, and then yeah, that's it. And then you can see the application is running fine. Now I'm going to go to the next stage, which is basically creating a new component, which is pretty simple thing stuff. I guess the same thing, you can go and create a component and put it in the component definition in the rendering directory of Sitecore, and then you can create a component here. I guess that part should be just the same thing. Metadata and site, obviously they are dynamic. Sitecore will basically pull the information and fill that on as we need. Also import map is something you don't need to go and change it very often. Yeah, so those are the changes. Hope you guys know something now, but yeah, I'll come again with more details, with more context about SitecoreAI and what if, I am going to create, this is the first video by the way, but I'm going to create another 3, 4, 5 on SitecoreAI, and basically I want to explore what is the SitecoreAI really is it just like managing the content that we had, or it has obviously more, right? Because it says AI means obviously the AI is there. So I'll be coming on by one based on this. Okay, till then, bye bye, have a good day.